Happy birthdays as well. You always find the latest courtyard permanent solution. Out of the box.
Hello and welcome to Radio Waves by Todderbert. If you enjoy reviews, comparisons, band scans of new and classic portable radios, then make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you don't miss any of my most awesome videos. In front of us we have the legendary realistic DX-440. It's an AM, FM stereo, long-wave, shortwave portable radio. This particular radio was donated by Peter Atkinson to the channel. I'm very humbled by his donation. In the past, he's donated some amazing radios, and here is another jewel. I absolutely love it. So big shout out to Peter Atkinson. Thank you very much, sir. Amazing. I looked up on eBay for the price of these, and they run anywhere from about $45 on the low end for a beat up kind of a condition to about $70 to $80 for a mint condition with the box and papers. To give you an idea, an average going price is $60 to $65 for a decent used example. So here is the radio. Let's go over dimensions. It's pretty big. I'm barely fitting it on the frame here. Going across the length, we have 12 inches. We have a height of 6¼ inches. And we have a case depth of 2½ inches. Yeah, so it's a pretty big tabletop size radio. It's portable, but it is heavy with the batteries in it. So we'll get to that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about size comparison. So I don't have anything really big to put next to it, but we'll put our little CC pocket there, give you an idea. Good deal. And we have Iron Man. He's the man with the master plan. Sweet. And then for reference tonight, I'm going to have this radio out to help me tune the shortwave. If we get time, this is the Grundig G5. It scans the bands much quicker, so we're going to use that to try to reference a station and try to find some using the little radio and the big radio together. So, okay, let's go over features of this realistic. I really like it. Number one is, yeah, it's big. It's really unwieldy. You're not going to walk around the neighborhood with this. Would be pretty cool like if you went on a trip, you were long-term camping and you wanted to carry something out in the field that you're not going too far with. You'll be okay with because it's not super portable. But I think this would be relegated to somebody's tabletop for a fun, unique collectible. Some history here for sure. So let's go look at the left-hand side of this radio. We have looks like a port cover for something. I don't know if it says what it is. Nope. Phones. We have headphones for stereo. I didn't test it on older radios. I tend not to. I'm always unsure if it'll, plug it in and unplug it and my speaker won't work. So I always take care of not use them on the older radios. DC in of 9 volts. There's the polarity. Okay. Set this down here. For the front of the radio, realistic. We have a metal speaker grill, and behind that speaker grill is a 3.5-inch speaker. Voice of the world, sweet. Bring this back up. So the display there, you'll see it says FM, long wave, medium wave, and AM. You can see the different frequencies there. It's full range, which is really cool. And on the left there, it has a single strength LED indicator. So it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are little red segment LEDs that will light up for the strength, which is pretty neat. They're pretty bright, very noticeable. So it's not something, they have anymore. I think that's kind of cool. There we have a 24-hour clock running. We have a power indicator LED, and we have an FM stereo indicator. And I think this FM stereo turns green when it's active, when it's working. Here we have the shortwave bands, the broadcast bands. You can look through there and see. I'm trying to hold this one-handed. There you go. You can pause and look at those if you need to. Here we have set this back down. This is the numeric entry keypad, which is really neat. You'll be using this a lot, definitely. If you know your way around the shortwave bands, wow, you're already a step ahead. Just plug them in and go with this particular radio. That's what you want to do, definitely. We have 5 band select buttons: FM, AM, long wave, medium wave, shortwave. The AM and shortwave are kind of like the similar buttons. You'll use these quite often. Typically shortwave to go through the bands, cycle the bands. So it seems a little redundant that they did 2 buttons like that, but I can see kind of where they were going with that. Here we have a mode select button. That's to toggle the clock and the during the when the radio is on, into frequency. Here we have a store, which is your memory key. There's a total of 9 memories. I didn't see a way to add more to this radio, so I believe there's only 9. And then you recall with this button, and it's neat. You can have any, of course, FM, AM, or shortwave on those 9 buttons, which is good. Glad to have that. We have scan, which isn't very good. You have to have really strong signal for this thing to catch it. So I probably won't use a scan feature, but I'll show you how it works. We have up and down for tuning. These are very interesting. They can fast tune a little bit or fine tune. They don't step like you would think. I'll show you that in a little bit. DX-440, PL synthesized circuit, sweet AM FM direct entry communication receiver. Okay, on the right here we have the power button. We have the volume slider, balance, left and right. We have treble, bass, which sounds really good on this radio, by the way. The speaker is fantastic, and listening to FM music is just a great thing. Just a lovely experience with this radio. BFO pitch, so when you get to a ham radio operator, you can actually tune them in with that. It's a little tricky and really got to fine tune this. You really got to go a little bit of adjustments to get them in perfect, but it does work, which is great. RF gain, pretty much leave it on max because, yeah, turning it down, I haven't seen any benefit personally with the included whip. Here we have an FM switch for mono stereo and wide narrow on the AM band and shortwave band. There's your BFO switch to turn it on or off. They call it out or in meaning on. We have a lock switch, so you can't turn it on while the lock switch is engaged, and we'll leave that on because I got to flip this around. So on this side here, we have the tuning wheel with a little finger nub there, and it lets you go through the band fairly quickly too, which is nice. Here is the carry strap. You can see on top it has the original carry strap, I believe. It has this white, red, and black. It's pretty cool. And so you can carry that sucker around. It helps because when this thing's loaded up with batteries, you need it. We have 3 buttons on top here. We have a light button. It's pretty bright, actually. Incandescent bulb. We have a timer button. It actuates the alarm. And then we have a sleep function, which will turn on the radio for a certain amount of time. And then we have our antenna, which is a gigantic antenna. This bad boy, it swivels 360 and it pulls up. So you can actually pull this antenna up here so it clears the case. And this extends out to 54 inches. Yeah, just absolutely amazing. Let's go to the back of this bad boy. Okay. Bear with me here. All right. So on the back here we have, I'm just going to set this down, trying to avoid smashing the buttons. We have this flip-out stainless steel stand, which is amazing. It needs to be because this thing is way heavy with the batteries loaded up. That's cool. It's there. Here we have, let's see, we got the antenna, external antenna input on an RCA, it looks like. I actually want to get an adapter for my Kato wire so I can hook up my, directly to that. That'd be nice to test it to see how it handles an external wire. And then there's a switch for the internal and external wire, which is nice for shortwave. And then here, if you look on the label, 440 talks about using the batteries. We take 6D batteries. Yes, 6 Ds are in here, as much as my super radio takes, and 2 AA batteries, so a total of 8 batteries. Just amazing. And then there's your frequency range for the AM and the FM. Okay, so computer backup. There's a computer in here. Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about FM reception, and then we'll turn this on so we can find tonight on the waves. So if there's little bits of plastic falling out of it, there might be. This thing must have took a fall, so it's a little loose in the cabinet in the bottom. So sometimes I've noticed a little bit of plastic coming out, but hopefully it'll be okay. So let's go ahead and talk about FM reception. FM reception. FM sensitivity was good with a total of 60 stations found. That was pretty neat. Big antenna, that's probably why. But when tuning those stations, the selectivity was okay to good. So of course your strong and moderately strong stations were kind of bleeding over to the other parts of the band. So you typically were getting some of those weaker stations were swamped by that heavy station next to it. So I did notice the selectivity was not as good as I would have thought it would be on a radio like this, but it's average. You'll hear about 48 stations or so relatively easily, if you were lived in my area. So yes, it gets a pretty much a 2 3/4 star rating. Is pretty much what it is. So yeah, let's go ahead and turn it on. We're going to read a Todderbert, do audio test. Oh, I got locked, of course. Okay, let's go to we got this recall. So we'll recall. Here we go. Treble. Bass. Signal strength indicator. Let's see if we've got stereo. There's stereo. Fun sliders. Alrighty, so there you go. We got a little taste of the audio. Let me go ahead and turn that off, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go to Shortwave and see what we can find on there. So let's switch our modes. Go to Shortwave, and then we can just direct entry. We'll start at the bottom of the band. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the antenna up a little bit on this one. So this one here, the antenna is gigantic, so bear with me here. It's going to take me a while to extend this up to 54 inches here. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm not going to hook up a wire to it. We're just going to do it internal here. Okay, there we go. One thing I noticed, it's going to like rock back and forth because there's a lot of weight on the antenna. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we can hear on this tonight. Hopefully we'll get some stations on Shortwave. Sounds like we might have the clock on 2.5 megahertz. Yep, just barely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my grounded G5 and we're going to do some scans, see if we can find anything. And if it finds a station, I will go to it. Okay, so it found 3215. So let's go to 3.2.
You're not believing the Word of God. You cannot believe if you're not believing Christ Jesus. You cannot believe if you're not trusting and relying on the character of God, the truthfulness of God, the power of God, the authority of God. In Matthew chapter 19 verse 26. But Jesus beheld himself, and with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. That's exactly what he prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, isn't it? He said, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. When you go to James chapter 4, verse 7, the Word of God says,
you have a conscience that manipulates. So here's an example. I've got, and I'm not bragging about it, it's actually freakish. My neck is freakishly large, 20 inches, and it's not bad. And my chest is freakishly large. I mean, my chest is almost as big as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, then I got a big belly too. But the whole point is that ever since high school, like big tough guys would say, "Oh, you're a punk. You want to fight?" Well, you're walking around with your chest stuck out. And I was like, "No, I'm just standing here."
Good tune here. Fine tunes.
Bueno, gracias Claudio por habernos educado este grupo y nos vamos con la música del maestro y sus invitados.
So it goes pretty quick if you want it to. So we're just going to go to 5. Yeah, the G5 is working out good as a companion.
MF939 automatic antenna tuner. You ask what's so amazing about it? Well, it's very small, compact unit. It'll handle up to 200 watts. I mean, it'll handle a Drake TR4, a Swan 350, or any modern radio that's out there. You simply plug the output into the 939 antenna tuner, give it about 5 to 10 watts, and it just tunes. No cable. You don't have to have a cable running between the tuner and the radio. It's utterly fantastic, very quiet. You will love this thing, and it's priced unbelievably low. You need to go to the website, mfjenterprises.com, and check out the 939 antenna tuner, or just Google MFJ 939. WTWW.
Okay, that's interesting. They're advertising antenna tuner for ham radio. Or maybe even for good receivers on big antennas.
All you got to do is find some way to get to the internet, go by the telephone, that people can listen to it off the internet on their telephone. Or you can call the telephone number. Go to the internet and find them.
Domingo en Antioquia, Colombia. Así que se pueden coger un avión hasta Bogotá y de Bogotá a Medellín. Y en Medellín nos encontramos. Toda la información que quieran sobre el Congreso, hay una página web oficial, redes sociales, la pueden encontrar de una forma muy sencilla con el
De agricultura de precisión con tecnología de drones. Henry Llanos tiene más detalles en su sección de tecnología.
Los vehículos aéreos no tripulados pueden convertirse en una herramienta trascendental para incrementar la productividad agrícola, según investigadores de la Universidad de Texas.
Uno siempre quiere saber las
A few stations tonight.
Quiere saber además las emociones que han movido a las personas que están implicadas con todo eso.
I love exploring this.
Mercaderes is one of the oldest and most frequented streets in Old Havana. You can easily walk its 4 blocks, starting at Tacon Street near the cathedral and ending at the Plaza Vieja. It is one of the best preserved streets of the historic core of the capital. Narrow, cobbled, and pedestrian, with its immense doors of precious wood, its canopies, and its old lamps. Although today it is populated by museums, shops and restaurants, it is still almost a replica of the original street dating from the 18th century. From those days, it inherits its name as a reflection of the considerable commercial activity in fine fabric.
You prioritize on you have made your career your God. You made your daughter second, your husband third, and you made me fourth.
You know, much as we could, eating as much as we could. I said, take them down front on the driveway and put out a free sign, put a big sign, free on it. And they'd be coming by, neighbors, who they say, all the neighbors up there say he's a cult leader. Well, what can I do? That's what they say. I'm not a cult leader. I'm a prophet.
So there's scan. You can see what it's doing with scan. I'll let that run. It's probably not going to find anything. I noticed the scan feature on this wasn't very good or very sensitive unless it was like a really strong station. So like I said, what I've been doing here in the background, you keep seeing me reaching over here with the shed on my arm.
I went out. She wanted some of the pears. I said, take them all.
I've been using the G5 to locate.
And I said, you know, you're up there talking to the cult leader. You know,
So that works out really well. So we're going to go ahead and see if there's any ham activity. Turned off the G5. We'll go ahead and just tune. Get the radio in a spot where it's not going to hit anything. Okay. So we're going to stop the scanning here. We're going to go to the hams usually are 3500. So getting these down low here in the 80 meter. Found something earlier. Gotta kind of go slow because it has that soft muting. So you can find some voice. Then we'll go to some medium wave, and then we'll probably explore this. Yeah, I've found if it's not a close station, it's very difficult to tune them in. I'm guessing with an outside wire, this would be amazing. And maybe with some type of noise filter. Okay, so we'll come back. We'll definitely revisit that. We'll get some hams talking and everything for sure. Very active tonight. No problem finding hams talking. We'll find something. So let's go ahead and turn this down. The radio does have a popping sound, so if you have your volume up too high and you switch bands, it makes some loud popping. So I'm going to go ahead and switch here. Oh, medium wave. Turn off our BFO. Okay.
That's right, we're live at Benny's Beverage Depot, Lincoln Park, on Monday from 2 to 6. Join Waddle, me, and Ice Cold Miller Lite, the official beer partner of the Chicago Bears. And we're giving away 2 pair of Miller Lite loft tickets to that night's game against the Seahawks. Get your pregame on with us.
Okay, let me just quick unplug some transformers here. And we will just tune some distant stations. Let's try 650.
in.springermountainfarms.com, or you can call them at 877-826-2322. As we always say, whether you boil it, grill it, bake it, smoke it, or fry it, it's going to be better each and every time with Springer.
Okay, that music is CFZM, Toronto, Ontario, which is 460 miles. One of my favorite stations I always like to tune to. And then right next to it is 750. WSB Atlanta, Georgia. I noticed during the day that this radio did an amazing job at receiving distant stations. It's pretty good for some of my locals and some of the farther stations. I'm not sure what type of infrared antenna it has, but it's very good. Let's go ahead and show, let's see. So mode shows us the time. It's 11 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Here, Chicago, Illinois.
Good morning, it's midnight. I'm Mark Adelbein, live from the WSB 24-hour news center, and we have...
White says don't underestimate it.
They all have unique personalities, and Mother Nature...
WJR Detroit.
...know how to throw different curveballs, whether it's...
Let's go right to Louisville.
Or whatever. But this one is bad in all three.
XQ button.
They sent a phone call to everybody.
Pretty much your enter button.
This is an emergency call. Don't call the fire department. Don't call the police station.
Okay, we can tune up 1 kilohertz with the knob.
Evacuate immediately. Fires in at least 39 homes. An 18-year-old man was
KOA Denver.
killed when the chimney from a house that exploded crashed down onto his car.
890 miles.
Overpressurized gas main being blamed. Blowing at 90 miles an hour now, Hurricane Florence was downgraded to Category 1 status as its leading edge has been battering the Carolina coast. Tens of thousands of homes and businesses are already without... Within his car when a chimney from a home fell onto it. Thousands have to stay out until...
WCBS, New York City, New York. Let's go to KDKA Pittsburgh.
Have to stay out until further notice. Andover, Massachusetts Town Manager Andrew Flanagan. Andover Fire Rescue and police
450 miles.
Responded to over 30 reports of fire structures. We've mobilized all of our town resources in an effort to provide and maintain the company. Puerto Rico challenged President Trump's claim the administration's response was an unsung success.
1100 is WTM, Cleveland, Ohio.
Now suggesting on Twitter that Democrats were behind the new numbers in an attempt to embarrass the administration. But other Republicans, like Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, say they don't dispute the accuracy of those casualties.
ABC's Lana Zach.
WRVA, Richmond, Virginia. Coming in kind of faint.
ABC News. Partnerships can be a wonderful thing. Together, people can achieve things they never could alone.
That's when the Bengals put together their drive.
1180 WHAM, Rochester, New York, 545 miles. So that gives you an idea. Go ahead and just turn this down. Okay, so you saw the signal strength indicator, pretty wild looking. You saw the power indicator. Yeah, I forgot to mention the XQ button. Works out pretty good. But yeah, overall, pretty impressed. Let's do final thoughts on this radio. Oh, you know what we didn't do here? Let's show you this. So we're going to go to a bright station.
So many storms before,
WGN
and
Chicago, local.
Very much, and so they hear these warnings, they hear how dangerous the storm could be,
Narrow.
but they think that it's worth a chance, and they're going to roll the dice and ride this one out too.
The storm center is now 50 miles offshore. Explosions and fires rocked nearly 40 homes and businesses in 3 Massachusetts towns today, leaving at least 10 people injured, 1 critically. The incidents may have resulted from an issue with...
Okay, cool. So that gives you an idea how that works. So let's go ahead and do final thoughts on the DX-440. I love this radio. It's so cool. It's classic. To tune it with the shortwave, you definitely should have a companion radio. I was using my G5 to help me tune, just because otherwise, if I don't know my frequency, I don't know what broadcast bands to go to, and I guess I could get my tablet out and do radio locator and find out what's being broadcasted, which is nice. That I have that program where it shows stations that are active, and I can try to search those and put them in here, which I should start doing probably this winter project. Learn my shortwave frequencies, broadcast bands, what time of day, have a little log sheet so I know, and that way I don't have to worry about trying to figure it out or hoping a scan doesn't miss it, and I can just manually enter it in. Definitely this radio finds it with that amazing antenna. This is inside here. It's great. It's doing fantastic. So definitely a buy if you're looking for something vintage, cool, nice sounding. You don't have a ton of memories, but that makes it fun. You're still able to listen to the ham radio operators, which I think is great. With the BFO control, it drifts a little bit. You have to play with this, but that's part of the fun of it. Definitely. And the kind of archaic tuning, it goes fast if you want it to, or it goes real slow. It's mainly a fine tuning machine and knowing where to go on the numeric keypad. That's what this radio is about. So if you enjoyed the presentation of the DX440, please give me a like. I appreciate it. If you love realistic radios, I do. Hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, get notified of future videos. 3, comment below what you think about the DX440. And 4, come visit me over at Patreon after hours, after the show, whatever you want to call it. A lot of free content, a lot of cool content for you guys. And if you want to sponsor the channel or help the channel out, you can check out the reward tiers and donate or help out if you feel the need to. So I appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care and goodbye.